Is the RGR Football Channel on a Wednesday, which means it's film room time. This is Daniel Harms, film analyst here, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know I'm not getting into the AFC Championship game. Lost to the Bengals right now. I don't have access to it. One, and I know there's a ton of people going out there and talking about it and what happened in the first and second half. There were two completely different teams, okay? And honestly, this starts draft season for just about everybody. As much as I'm going to get into that game at some point, I'm going to watch it. I'm actually going to be on the radio tomorrow talking about it, ESPN Kansas City, a little bit here and there. So I'm going to have to get to it eventually. But right now is not that time. I sent a poll yesterday out on Twitter and got some feedback on one of the prospects that we're going to watch. And that starts off this whole process of we might do one every single week. We're going to have to see how that works out. But I do want to get started with draft season film. That's what we're talking about right now. Today, a receiver that a lot of us have had our eyes on for a couple of years now, Chris Olave out of Ohio State, about 6'1". I think he's going to weigh in about 185 near just going to forget the combine's name really quick, but near the NFL combine, I think he's going to weigh in about 185. And, 6'1", a good wingspan, a good catch, good hands. I think what I want to start doing this time around is getting more involved and better at comps myself, so that you have a better idea before we even get into the tape and what he reminds me of as a player. Because when I watch Chris Olave, I see the player, I see the frame, I see all that stuff. He reminds me of Devontae Smith last year coming out of Alabama. Same type of player, in my opinion. Smooth route runner, good hands, can create separation anywhere on the field, which makes him a 3-level threat player in the NFL. Has some things to work on to be able to get better. Specifically in this offense that the Chiefs run, like I said, a great route runner. I need to see more multiple routes. I want to see a little bit more out of him in terms of contact, some physicality. I think he has the frame to bulk up a little bit more. You don't want to lose some of that speed that he has, that he definitely has, that a lot of people don't really think that he presents, especially when you put him next to Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith-Njigba. So one of the interesting things I found that he never actually eclipsed a 1,000-yard season at Ohio State. He had obviously great receivers out there, so it's hard to always get those, especially when you want to run the football a little bit. And that's definitely something that Ohio State likes to do. They have one of the best running backs in college football in TreVeyon Henderson. Clearly one of the best, probably the best wide receiver group in college football last year as well, with Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave. He had 936 reception yards last year. His most receptions in a season 2 at 65. So that kind of gives you a good target point, about 14.5 yards per catch on the season. He had 13 touchdowns. Really nice to see double-digit touchdowns as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tape, because I think, stats are great and all, but we all want to see what this guy does. And I got to tell you, when I say he reminds me of Devontae Smith, that's almost like a picture-in-picture kind of thing when I'm seeing in some of these routes and some of these things that they do technically wise. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. First play against Michigan State. We all know Michigan State's defense is not very good. It's just not a great defense. So here he is down here in the slot. Again, he didn't play exclusively in the slot. Jackson Smith-Njigba did most of that. And he was definitely more of an outside receiver this year. But you can see how he works with space, and then he's able to get down out of these big hits that are coming his way. You see Travis Kelce do that a lot, where he identifies space, and he gets down because he knows he's not going to be able to create any more yards, and he doesn't want to take one of those, big pops. Something you really don't want to do, especially with a safety coming down and might crack you. You don't want to do that. So this is a nice, varied concept here. So you see, this is man coverage. You have basically just a double slant here coming on from the left side of the offensive formation. Easy enough. But what Chris Olave does, okay, very, very good. It's more of a delay. So he's going to come out here and then he's going to stop. Just kind of give you a jab to the outside and then bring it back. The delay buys him some time, definitely freezes this corner here, and you can work with all of this because this is a play action run here. Coming this way, and you have linebacker and linebacker. So you do know you have a little bit of time to set this up if you want to. You know your quarterback, CJ Stroud's coming back to you on the opposite way. You're going to hit. He's going to hit you. So you have a little bit of time to work with and create this exact separation there. Boom, boom. It's pretty quick too. He's got very good short area quickness. He doesn't have a ton of yards after the catch ability, in my opinion. I think it's a little underrated. And you can see here, he's more of a find space kind of guy. understand where he is, and then get upfield. So I like to see the short area quickness in his stem, using that to manipulate corners to his advantage and find ways just to open up that space. Again, great job understanding, one, it's play action pass, and two, you have all this space to work with. You have time. Great things come to those who are patient, and he's a very, very patient route runner, and he can use all these different tools and the skill set that he has to maximize space. Things you like to see in an Andy Reid type offense, because they always like to scheme up players and create space for guys to work in, something that Olave does very, very well. Once again, against Michigan State, just some of his bigger plays came against this bad defense. But I liked to see, before we even get to the play, I liked to see this, because typically when an offense stacks a player, they want to get the guy underneath a free release. And you can come up here and press the apex receiver, but typically that's what you're going to do, just to get this guy off of him. But I liked to see Chris Olave as the alpha 1 receiver here, not the one that needs to have separation created for him. That tells me that the offense likes what he does against press. I did see quite a bit of it. I'm going to show you guys in this tape as well. But it tells you they trust him to get off of press and find open space and create separation a little bit better through the stem. I think that Garrett Wilson is probably the best receiver in this draft class, and I think he's going to probably go as the number 1 wide receiver off the board. Maybe Traylon Burks finds his way. Maybe something like that happens. But I do think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. But Chris Olave, a little bit better route runner in my opinion, and you're going to see him just completely take advantage of everything that's going on right here. You have that jet sweep motion. Speed are very underrated. What I liked to see about this is that, one, you're going to get, here's the jet sweep. So let's stop it right here. You have, this moves into almost a cover 3 look, okay? And that creates space. You have this safety who's moving now out here a little bit more towards the apex of the defense, and his shoulders are to this sideline out here, okay? So again, you have shoulders to this sideline, shoulders to this sideline. What does that mean for a guy who's just trying to get open? It means you have 3 defenders working sideline to sideline. They're not going backward as much. They're not just backing up. So you can just find space, go up the seam and get down the field. You use this to your advantage, this jet sweep play action motion, okay? Obviously you have defenders here kind of sucked into the line of scrimmage, so you have a ton of space to work with. And Chris Olave knows that. But this is what I like to see, his space. But Olave looks like he's accelerating pretty effortlessly down the field, just finding that space between away from his body. Excellent ball tracking receiver in Chris Olave, and again, by contact, which we're going to see right here. You have Chris Olave in the slot here working against Eric Gray of Michigan, probably their best man-to-man corner, and there's a reason for that. He's a pretty good man coverage guy, but Olave does a great job here of getting separation. Again, against man coverage, it's not, press coverage. He's not up here on line of scrimmage, but he's just again, running an out route here. He's just trying to get to the flag. And the best thing about Chris Olave is that he does understand what a corner's doing, and he understands what he wants to do and how he needs to get open. You see Travis Kelce, I use this a lot because Kelce is one of the most unique route runners in the NFL, and he understands, much like a receiver does, how you can lean into a corner or a linebacker or a safety, whoever's on you, you can lean into him a little bit and create separation when you move away. So if you create a little bit of force and momentum going upwards, right, you come up here, and at the apex of your route, you create a little bit of contact, okay? So you move him back just a little bit, and then you break off, and it makes even more space, okay, from you and that defender. And this is exactly what Chris Olave does here. Good job attacking, creating right here, that contact point. And then boom. The one problem is that if he's forced to adjust to the ball in air and it's into contact, which it happens to be here. It's an inaccurate ball in my opinion. Obviously he's clearly wide open. This is as wide open as you can get. I'd like to see the ball out here a little bit more, but it ends up being thrown behind Olave into the trailing defender, and he can't come up with that ball. This is where most of his drops happen through contact, and that's the biggest issue on his tape, is playing through contact at the catch point and then playing through contact at the base and the apex of his route. We're going to get to that a little bit too, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But this is really, really impressive ability to find himself at the, at the sideline. I think that his body control is really, really, really good. It's more excellent. He's able to find space. Like I said, one of the best guys in just creating and then finding space and using it to his advantage. So just right here, it's kind of a lazy route. I won't lie to you. He's just a curl, but it kind of rounds off here at the end. He doesn't do a great job of breaking out of it. And then you see CJ Stroud have to break from the pocket. And that's where the magic happens. That's where players like Chris Olave in an offense like Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes can make things happen. This is not an NFL catch. No, it's not. But you see the creativity. So you're going to see Olave coming to the screen down here, right here. Double covered, but just instead of coming right across, he finds open space. It's like, okay, I'm going to get here. Be a release valve to your quarterback. When they break the pocket, find space. Always find space. That's something you see the Chiefs do a ton. We all know that. We've seen Demarcus Robinson be a guy who can do that. Chris Olave, one of the best through contact catches on his tape. Just comes down with this ball. Yes, he doesn't come down in bounds in the NFL in bounds, but all about creativity after the play breaks down. Can you find a way to be a release valve for your quarterback and get a first down? And he did in the college rules. And that's, to an extent, very, very something that really can expand into the NFL. His awareness around the sideline and awareness near the end zone, things like that, are very, very important, and they're very good. He does an excellent job of timing everything. You saw him just kind of try to undercut that corner first, and then he comes back around, undercutted the safety, finding that space. That's where he does very well. Plays break down. And again, he doesn't have to worry about that so much at Ohio State, but I think that's something that shows up on his tape enough that it translates to the NFL. Now you see him down here at the bottom of your screen against man coverage. You're going to see this against press coverage. Finally, a very good press rep against Penn State. Right here. Excellent job of releasing. And unfortunately, he doesn't get this ball. But this is what you want to see. Just right there. Set him up a little bit. So he just kind of slowly comes out here a little bit, jabs, and goes. I wish I had a one-on-one view of this, because it's excellent handwork. You're going to see 5 of Penn State try and jab him, but he's just going to work through the contact. This is really where his creativity and his hand fighting prowess come in hand. He's, like I said, he's not the best with contact anywhere else except for right at that stem process. He's able to hand fight, get off of it, and get around, get himself open. Just being a release valve and finding ways to get open in any offense. Unfortunately, because he throws his hands up because he knows how wide open he is, and it's a frustrating as a receiver to be that wide open downfield for a touchdown and then just not get the ball. But Stroud had to come out of the pocket. It's just nice to see him work against press coverage and do a good job of creating that separation downfield, because he can run any route here, but this is a touchdown. So a lot of fun. That did come up multiple times. I saw it multiple times. His handwork against press and all that stuff. It's very, very good. Here, this is what we call attacking the blind spot. So you see this corner is now coming off here. So he's playing zone. When you open up to the middle of the field, you're playing zone. If you let the receiver go out to the outside, you're typically by yourself on an island in man coverage. But this is just zone coverage. So you see how he's doing this. Maybe I can get some of the blurriness to go away there. I don't know why that went by so fast. So here we go. A little bit here. So he's going to attack, speed, accelerate. And when he finally gets you to nearly turn sideways to run with you, he breaks. Excellent route. Jeez, this is ridiculous. I don't understand. But yeah, I do apologize about that, guys. I'm trying to find a better video streaming, not really streaming, but a video graphic. This is VLC. It just doesn't have the best thing for me. I'm not sure why. I've seen other people use it, and they do a good job of getting all that off there. But this is just one of the things that Chris Olave does better than any receiver in the class, in my opinion. This is why it's very reminiscent of what Devontae Smith does. This was his bread and butter, was the curl route against any kind of coverage, and he's able to come back to the football. Olave does a great job right there, attacking that blind spot, creating a ton of separation, coming back to the football. This is something the Chiefs do a lot of too. They do a lot of that blind spot and curl offense, and he's excellent fit for that. Now you're going to see him down in the slot down here against Maryland. And this is really where his, like I said, the contact comes into play. It's not the best. And he's just going to run a little, almost like a post out here. And right here where he decelerates is where he gets caught up. He adds a little bit too extra. Too many steps, I think. He actually decelerates very, very well, very seamlessly. But right there, he's a little bit too slow coming out of his break. And that gets him caught up. And this happens quite a bit in his tape. I noticed that deceleration process needs to happen a little bit quicker. And again, it's a good route. It just takes a little bit too long to develop, and then he's unable to get off of that coverage. Just the biggest problem in this tape, like I said, is going to be contact at the catch point and contact at the very break of his route. You can get your hands on him there and reroute him. You're probably going to end up forcing an incompletion, or at the very worst, he's not going to get the ball thrown his way. And to end this, we get to see some excellent route running, adjustment, his shoulders. That's the nice thing about this. And this is another thing, stem variation, okay? Different speeds in your route stem can really freeze a corner. They can freeze anybody, and it allows you to be unpredictable. If you're the same kind of guy who's blazing right off the line, or if he's just slow off the line, trying to manipulate instead of having a mixed bag of route stems, you're going to be very, very easy to find, very easy to cover in the NFL. But this is where this comes in handy for Olave. So this is pretty much the exact same formation that they were in on that first play I saw you where he ran the delayed slant, except you have the running back on this side, okay? Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to slowly come up here and freeze the corner by making him think he can go inside. You're going to see him when I come through the play that he comes frozen. Again, play action, and then Olave is just going to go out and up, right, basically to the flag. It's a great job of, one, understanding that this is happening. Actually, this is a little bit reversed. This one's before the first play that we saw. So he sets up that slant later in the game. Actually, very, very fun. I'll tell you what, his tape was one of the most fun, diverse looking I saw that I've seen so far. I guess that's why he reminds me of Devontae Smith. And if you could have told me that the Chiefs could have had Devontae Smith because he was going to fall down the draft boards last year around where they were at 31, I would have been very happy with that. You're going to get a player who is relatively the same with what he brings to the table. I think that they're both willing, not always able blockers, but at the end of the day, they're a guy who can create separation and get open when asked. And they both, I think we're going to look at Devontae Smith being in the top 10, and then Olave being at the end of the first, near the second. And I think that value for that type of player is something you can't really pass up. But again, all based on the draft board, draft needs, what the Chiefs end up doing in the free agency. We're going to talk a whole lot about what the Chiefs can do, but Chris Olave is a favorite wide receiver of mine. He might not be my favorite this draft class, but specifically for the Chiefs can draft at, I really like his value compared to the player I think he could be in other places. And I think Devontae Smith showed you this year in the NFL that he can be a number one wide receiver. And I think Chris Olave, in an offense that has Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, can operate very, very well, especially with that speed element. He has some speed, but he's not the fastest guy in the world, and he can take advantage of all that space that's created by Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, and everybody else. So I like Olave a lot. I would not be unhappy at all if they drafted him at 30 or 29, wherever it is there at the end of the first. Very, very, very sound technical player. Next week, we're going to do a defensive player if I don't get to the Chiefs film. So all of you out there, give me a player that you'd want to see broken down on defense that would be at the end of the first round, that you think would be at the end of the first round, a player the Chiefs might target near that spot. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be, I know it's a tough week after that loss, but we're going to go full bore into draft season. Ryan is at the Senior Bowl right now. He's looking at everybody. We're going to have a ton of fun stuff coming for you this offseason. I know it's hard to get excited for draft season after a loss like that, but we're here. We're going to give you the content you're looking for, and we're always going to have it every single week. Make sure you hit that like, the bell, and the sub notification. And everybody, please